The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor,
The Bitcoin Group,
Martine Wismayer from General Bytes,
What's up, guys?
Josh Shigala from Voltoro. Gotta unmute yourself.
Oh, God. Bring it on.
All right, moving on to issue one. Issue one. Oh, we need to do this one more time. Issue one. Morgan Stanley becomes the first big U.S. bank to offer its wealthy clients access to Bitcoin funds. The investment bank told its financial advisors Wednesday in an internal memo that it is launching access to 3 funds that enable the ownership of Bitcoin. 2 of the funds on offer are from Galaxy Digital, a crypto firm founded by Mike Novogratz, while the third is a joint effort from asset manager FS Investments and Bitcoin company NYDIG. Morgan Stanley is only allowing its wealthier clients access to Bitcoin, the volatile asset. The bank considers it suitable for people with an aggressive risk tolerance who have at least $2 million in assets held by the firm. Investment firms need at least $5 million at the bank to qualify for the new stakes. Dan Eve, will you be buying Bitcoin on Morgan Stanley?
Oh, I don't think I'm quite at the level to meet their criteria for the clientele. I can kind of I can see why they've been a bit resistant. Obviously, with the huge gains comes huge losses, and obviously investors are always attracted to the huge gains, and then the huge losses. I think we all know that it takes a long time to lose like 40% of your portfolio in a day and just be totally chill with it. Whereas if you're a big investor and you're putting your money in, they're going to be phoning up their account managers at Morgan Stanley going like, someone turn the Bitcoin machine off before it goes down even further. They don't understand these things and they probably don't read up on them. They just see, number go up, money go up. And then, they get the FOMO. They fear it. They've missed out. They try and jump to leap for the boat, but the boat's already left shore. And then they probably sell because they panic that it's not going to go back up. And eventually it goes back up. I think I saw a stat the other day that said it was something like 92% of people who bought Bitcoin are in, I don't know what the number is, are in profit. It's insane as a figure, but Bitcoin just keeps on reaching all-time highs after a long period. And let's face it, the Nasdaq took was it 15 years or something to reach an all-time high after the 2000 bubble popped. So at least with Bitcoin, those cycles are a lot shorter. And yeah, hopefully it paves the way for more companies easing into Bitcoin lightly.
I think the real reason it took Morgan Stanley this long to offer Bitcoin is a staffing issue. They just didn't want to staff up for this Bitcoin thing because it goes overnight and it goes on the weekend. So basically you had to hire a whole second round of stockbrokers. You had a whole second round of telephone support people. You had to change all those messages were only available from 9 to 5. It really kind of breaks the whole fun of being a banker, which is you don't have to work that much. You can work banker's hours, right? You can have banker's holidays. Bitcoin's out there just defying all that, and it kind of wrecks why you'd want to be a banker in the first place. Martine Wismayer, why do you think it took Morgan Stanley so long? And are you excited that they're finally offering Bitcoin to people with only $5 million?
I don't know why it took so long, but I think they eventually started selling it because their clients demanded it. They're one of the world's largest private banks. That means like high net worth individuals and upwards. And I recently looked at this like 2 weeks ago, and the statistics say that from the ultra high net worth, that's people with $30 million of spendable income, i.e. not including their houses and their cars, but like really like cash in the bank, ready to spend on whatever they want. Of those ultra high net worth people, of which many will bank with Morgan Stanley, 1% already has cryptocurrency assets. So it's more that the pressure became too big on Morgan Stanley to keep ignoring it. I think if it would be up to them, they would just play the old bankers game and would totally ignore Bitcoin, but it's just their clients demand it. And if they don't do it, somebody else will and they'll leave. So I think that's the reason.
Just as the prophecy foretold, Josh Shigala, Morgan Stanley, Bitcoin's new best friend. Should we expect Michael Saylor-like tweets soon?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the thing is that I'm waiting for the big the first big institution to be hacked because they don't know what the heck they're doing. And, the thing is, I think they'll be using people that do know what they're doing, like Coinbase, something like that first. But the other thing that I think about Morgan Stanley is maybe they're just too, they're, how do I put this politely, arrogant, I guess. The best polite way I could put it, to sort of realize that they don't know what they're doing in this space, and that they will probably try to get greedy, and then they'll go into fractional reserve, and then they'll be in a bull market, and all of a sudden people will say, well, we're pulling out, and they won't have it all there. And it could actually, this sort of currency that escalates so much could actually break someone like Morgan Stanley, believe it or not, or they get hacked. So we'll wait and see what happens. I really don't hope so, but I just think that some of these institutions are so arrogant that this sorts of stuff sort of happens to arrogant folk.
I agree with Martin, though. Customer demand and missing out on those sweet, sweet fees are a good reason to bring the Trojan horse within your walls. Don't just leave it outside. Bring it in. Dan, Eve, what bank will be next? We've already got Morgan Stanley. I think Deutsche Bank said Bitcoin was too interesting to pass up. Visa, MasterCard are partnering with Bitcoin. Is there anyone left that hasn't joined us yet?
What about something like, is it Mondo, like one of those banks, or the new kind of, obviously Revolut does Bitcoin, but they don't do it on the business side actually. So maybe, that'll be a step forward. But I'd like to see one of the heavyweights, like, certainly from the UK/Europe's perspective, like, HSBC or Santander, but there's still, by the sounds of it, rumors of shutting down accounts willy-nilly. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Unfortunately, they want to keep control of the monetary system, and at the moment, they don't see integrating it as being part of that control yet. And they will find out or realize that, but when it's already too out of their control to be controlling it. So, suckers.
I just hope we get that bank that made the slots that were the right size for the briefcases full of money. They designed the overnight slot specifically so it fit a certain briefcase, and that's how the drug mafia or whatever would give them the money. That's the kind of bankers that we need in Bitcoin. Martin Wismar, which banker will be next?
I think we'll first see the larger banks for that cater to high net worth individuals. So, for example, UBS would be cool. But another development we're seeing in Germany, there's over 600 different banks, is that those banks will have to innovate or die. So like Solaris Bank, for example, which is a small bank, they partnered with Bitwala and take care of their fiat banking part, while Bitwala takes care of the crypto trading part. But it's a nice combination. You get a card. It's the same company that does you do your banking at. You can also use to purchase some crypto, and I think we'll see more of those smaller players. I think Mondo, that Dan mentioned, is what I believe UK only, but it's also one of those neo app bank things, and I think there's definitely room for that. And I'm not sure. I don't know how well Bitwala or Solaris Bank is doing at this time, but I've never heard of Solaris Bank, and go in partnership with with Bitwala in this case, gave them more reach. So it makes sense for smaller banks, but I think we'll first see the larger private banking services start to switch over to crypto. Yeah.
Well, Solaris Bank was actually just purchased. It was a dead bank, and they purchased it to make a tech company out of it with a banking license. So they basically just bought the license to then create a tech API first bank because they knew that the API laws were getting passed in the EU, meaning every bank had to offer an API, and they wanted to jump in on that action. That was
excellent.
Bitwala was a great partnership. Yeah, they're good folks down there at Bitwala.
So Martine predicts all the fancy banks that I'll never use, banks that won't let me in the lobby, banks that don't have drive-up ATMs, no free toaster, no alarm clock. Josh Shigala, which bank will use Bitcoin next? Predict something I use, like Bank of America or Wells Fargo.
Yeah, N26. Huh? Who the heck is that? Well, Peter Thiel invested in it. Probably. I think maybe an Australian bank might, but that's just because I'm Australian and I know those guys. But I don't know. You know what? I don't care. That's what it comes down to. I'm so disinterested, Thomas, in this question because I don't care which bank offers crap, like their crappy version of Bitcoin. If you want to buy Bitcoin, figure it out on an exchange. There's plenty of places to buy it. Just ignore those idiots. That industry is a corrupt piece of crap. It needs to be left in the place where dinosaurs were left. Just be relics.
Josh was very close with his none of the above answer, but it was actually all of the above. All of the banks will soon accept Bitcoin and start offering it, whether Josh likes it or not. Moving on to issue 2. Issue 2. India set to propose Bitcoin ban. They're back again. This time it's India again. India is once again attempting to ban what they call private blockchains, meaning that they mean to offer their own public blockchain. Once again, choice for the people is stomped by government power. Let's go to Josh Shigala first. Josh, what do you think about India's exciting new attempt to ban Bitcoin? This is going to be a boon to the Indian people.
Yeah, I had a really good talk with Sunny Ray, who is the CEO of Uno Coin. That's not OneCoin, that's Uno Coin. They are the biggest exchange. They were the biggest exchange in India, and they spent a lot of resources fighting the first ban, which wasn't actually law. It was a ban by the Central Bank of India, banning other banks using it and then pretty much destroying all exchanges. So they spent a lot of resources fighting that and raising money for it, and they won. And this was an amazing time in India. People celebrated and danced and sung. And then now, of course, you're getting the actual lawyer, the politicians saying we're going to ban Bitcoin and passing actual legislation to ban Bitcoin as law, which is a whole nother ball game. And good old Sunny Ray is back at it with his team. And they aren't the biggest exchange in the world. They're very big. They got 2 million customers. I'm not saying they're small, but if you do want to support Sunny's work, paying for lawyers and all this stuff, check out his work. Sunny Ray. He's got a great podcast as well. I was on it recently. He basically puts feet on the ground, lawyers put on robes, and he battles this stuff front on. And it needs to be battled because India is going to suffer. India has got some of the most brightest minds in the world. You can see it in Silicon Valley. Some of the biggest heads of the biggest companies are of Indian descent, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot there. The government is screwing this up. It's like New York as well screwed it up with the New York license, and all the brains just left. All they can do now is have conferences. Gee, whoop-de-doo. Wow, you can have a Bitcoin conference. Really, the bright minds will leave, and that's what will happen. So if you want to be the next hub of Asia in terms of financial hub, if you want to take that away from Hong Kong, then don't ban the future of finance to try and make your own, like an idiotic. It's kind of like banning all car manufacturers, all cars, because you're going to make your own. We saw what happened in Germany, and when the war was up, they had the Trabant, the single only car you could buy in East Berlin. It was this piece of crap, small thing. In fact, it was so crap you had to order it when your child was born because it took 18 years to build. The state was so inefficient, and then you finally got it. And to turn the windscreen wipers, you had to like physically turn it on the inside, and it burnt a heap of gas. Like, that's how crap the state isn't doing anything. So try not to create your own blockchain. All right, rant over.
Sounds like a revolutionary, environmental friendly motor there. The kind of technology we should look into, that crank technology.
Oh yeah, that crank technology is great for the RSI.
I was just asking everyone at home to use their own crank technology and give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up are free, and there's more than 34 people watching us on YouTube, so maybe we should have 34 thumbs up.
Yeah, go on, do it.
Martine Wismayer, your thoughts on India and their very exciting attempt to ban Bitcoin?
First, I think Bitcoin won't be banned. It's impossible to ban it, but it will definitely hurt the Indian infrastructure, exchanges and stuff. It will be hard, but it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. You see many people, when I lived in Dubai, you saw many people trying to take gold back to India, but it was something that was really, they really strip searched people because of gold. You have some gold. So they've always been about capital controls and trying to control people, and so it doesn't surprise me at all. But I think it's a stupid mistake. In the past, we had the China FUD, where China would ban it every few months, and now it seems that the new one that's going to ban it is India. But honestly, I think people in India should just fight it, and even if it's banned, like Nigeria is the case, people use it more than ever, because if it's banned, it must be good.
Dan, Eve, your thoughts on India?
Yeah, I think it's a shame, especially how like India recently, or over the last like 20, 30 years, has become such a huge tech hub around the world, and so much development takes place there, and in general, yeah, it just seems illogical for a country that's growing so much in the tech sector would then limit the opportunities in one of the hugest parts of the tech sector, the growing fintech industry. I think so looking at some chart based on 2020 volumes, they were actually 11th in the world for trading volume. So it's not like it's going to be, it's a small contribution to the overall sort of volumes of traded Bitcoin. And I doubt it will sort of make any market crash if they do decide it like it used to with China bans. But it's just a shame, because I can imagine that, especially if, for example, international remittance, like a lot of people from India work abroad, and to send money back costs an absolute fortune. So Bitcoin's good for actually sending money back to the country and avoiding the silly bank charges that they have. So yeah, let's just hope they U-turn and big up Bitcoin.
I agree with the panel. It's a big loss to India. It's an incredible country that has intelligent people. They're all into technology. It's a good opportunity to grow Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but it doesn't look like they're going to get to do that. So it is a disappointment for them. But again, this has happened before, and like the panel said, banning Bitcoin's kind of impossible. So really, they're just bringing more attention to it. What they're actually banning, unfortunately, like Josh mentioned, is people like Sonny Ray, entrepreneurs who want to do the right thing and work through the system, raising capital, offering services, having a company. That's not going to be possible if they go through with this ban. So that's what they're actually banning, all the criminal activity. will only increase or continue, and all the normal people are now criminals. So bad for India. Moving on to the exit question. Who will ban Bitcoin next? We've seen China and India, some other countries. Josh Shigala, who will ban Bitcoin next?
All of them. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, eventually, all of them will, because they'll try to compete with it, just like India, and it'll become impossible to ban, and it's just it'll happen what happens with Dash and all these other ones, because Bitcoin will become more fungible eventually, and then they'll say, oh, it's too private, and then it's probably all of them.
It really does seem that way. At first, Bitcoin was more of a joke, but now that it's past $50,000 and it's over $1 trillion, they're starting again to see it as a threat. So it really might go that way. Martine Wismayer, who will ban Bitcoin next?
I don't know about banning, but as you say, that now that the price is up and the market cap is higher than ever, you'll see more and more countries starting to heavily regulate it, just regulate it, make it impossible to actually own some Bitcoin. I mean, even starting about unhosted wallets. I mean, what is an unhosted wallet? It's just a wallet. I mean, there's no such thing as an unhosted wallet. There are wallets and there are custodial wallets. Custodial, bad; wallets, good. So you'll see more and more of this stuff happening. At the same time, I think there will always be countries that will welcome you as a Bitcoiner with your stash of Satoshis, and they will not ban it. So eventually we might have to vote with our feet and move to another country, but I'm all prepared. My suitcase is packed.
I think you're spot on there. That's exactly what the modus operandi has been in the past as well. Is they just basically make it. They're like, oh no, we're a free country. We wouldn't ban anything. But you've got to jump about 1 trillion hoops, and you just don't do it. So it's effectively banning.
Come to Portugal. Sorry.
Dan Eve, who will ban Bitcoin next?
Well, I think it's kind of fallen. It used to be a scare thing on my radar, but now I think Bitcoin's just so big that nothing's going to cause an impact anymore. And even if like China did say, I think we're going to ban it, I don't think the market will move like it used to, because it's just so ubiquitous now. It's not just one area that people think that all the mining's done, and therefore that's going to be where the biggest impact is. I think that it's so well spread that that's kind of the news that's coming along just sort of patters out a bit less and less each time, because it's not enough to move the markets. And unless say the US or I think US were number one in those the charts for Bitcoin trading, I think that would be the only country that I think really would have a significant impact on Bitcoin. But I just don't think that's gonna happen. But the funny thing is that, going back to the example that we hear Bitcoin from the ecological side, so the fact it's bad for the environment and blah blah blah, that's the kind of only thing people have got left. And in the banking industry, it's money laundering. It's like, Bitcoin is used for money laundering. And I think in January, when Christine Lagarde, the head of the ECB, who happens to have been convicted for a 400 million euro felony, but still managed to get a great job after it, wish I was that lucky, she said, mentioned again about the money laundering. The money laundering is bad for AML. We've got to put regulation. But no one so far. I haven't heard any big examples of money laundering. There's loads. You could search HSBC and money laundering, and a plethora of articles come up just on that alone. But I haven't seen one good documented case where Bitcoin has provably been used in a big money laundering, fiasco, and certainly not even the scale of some of the larger banks. So yeah, I don't know. I don't care who says they're going to ban Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will ban them.
Yeah.
Dan, Eve, can you see my screen? It's like Dan can see the whole thing here. So yes, Dan was reading off the reasons why the United States will be the one to ban Bitcoin. Money laundering, environmental problems, a threat to central banks, Articles will be written. You're causing a brain drain. This is bad for technology. But then they'll say, we have to do it anyway. And they'll be right.
Think of the
Moving
children.
on. Think of the children. Moving on. Did you know the World Crypto Network has its own store at shop.worldcryptonetwork.com? You can get HAL Finney, the mug, just like the mug I have right here, at shop.worldcryptonetwork.com. Also, we have a podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and other places where you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to the World Crypto Network audio podcast today. Also, thanks to everyone for giving us all those thumbs up. I see we now have 47 people watching us. That's way more than 37. Moving on to issue 3. Bitcoin surpasses 60K in record high as rally accelerates. Bitcoin, the world's biggest cryptocurrency, was at $60,415 as of 7:25 a.m. on the day this article was written. The digital currency is up over 963% in the last 12 months, according to Coinbase. Dan Eve, what's the reason for this insane Bitcoin rally? Will it ever stop?
I think it's it's destiny according to the charts. I think that community definitely has a lot to do with it, and I'm not saying Laser Eyes did it, but it did spread quite far, and it kind of gets people together, and maybe it does have an effect of people going, yeah, if I buy this little bit of Bitcoin, it will help push it over to the next all-time high, and you kind of don't get that with stocks. I mean, maybe you might get that with, say, I suppose GameStop. That didn't end very well. But that kind of shill army behind a stock. You wouldn't find, or you wouldn't find many people like going into. I don't know, if Tesla had a Telegram and like people being like, "Yo, why aren't you putting Tesla on Binance and stuff like that?" Which you do get that in the community. You get people working for the stock. They're working for Bitcoin. Everyone's doing their part, and I think community has a huge part to do with it. But also, obviously, you've got to mention, Plan B, stock to flow, and it kind of looks like it's just planning out. It really is, and it looks like we're probably around the May 2017 timings right now of the bull run back then. Probably going to have a bit of a pullback, and then before we head off to the prophesized 250K. But I think if the community, I think it's partly quite a lot to do with the community. So do your bit for Bitcoin. Think about it. The Bitcoin needs you. Tell people about it, tell them about hodling, tell them about obviously how to store your Bitcoin securely, and that you can use a service where they hold your Bitcoin for you. But the ideal is to own your own private keys and don't be part of that bank run. Because as we mentioned earlier about the fact that, who's going to be the first big bank to get hacked? And that's going to be a big embarrassing moment when that happens. And if you are letting a bank store your Bitcoin, you're susceptible to the same third-party risk of a bank run as you are, because they're probably going to rehypothecate with your coinage in some way. Store your Bitcoin, hold your Bitcoin, and read and tell everyone about Bitcoin.
Martin Wismayer, has Plan B become Plan A?
Actually, today I saw an interview with him on a Dutch channel, Madelon from CryptoCast, and they were talking about Plan A, Plan B. But Plan A, he's a bit like in between. He still works in Plan A, but he's called Plan B. He still works
as long as it wasn't Plan 9. That's the one you don't want.
I don't know about Plan 9, but I stick to Plan B. Yes, his prediction was it $50K US dollar Bitcoin price came out of his original stock to flow model, came out 1 month before it was predicted. So I created a little spreadsheet with all the predictions, and then, my number of sats I have, and then what will happen when this is really becoming a reality. But I think this Bitcoin is part of like a renaissance. We are changing the way the world works money-wise. And, the previous renaissance was in the 1600s or something, where we got out of the Middle Ages, and before that it was the state and religions keeping us down and stupid. But after that, we had an explosion of art and explosion of wealth and knowledge, and it changed the world. So I think Bitcoin is doing that in a similar way. And what you're also seeing in the crypto community, it's not just like a bank account, is that you see a huge art movement. There's so many different artists. I've been, looking for crypto art now for the past few weeks. Those who've seen the other episodes will have noticed that I asked them to, like, join our newsletter, because we want to feature you on the ATMs. So I've been researching a bit the crypto art, and there's just so much art out there. I just don't have enough walls to decorate. It's just it's a big revolution. But I totally forgot what your question was, Thomas. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Plan B and Plan A and Bitcoin.
Oh, yes.
60K. So
yes, Bitcoin Plan B, I think, predicts somewhere like 100K somewhere this year, but 288K like coming up, and then it's really like a new asset class. What will happen after that, I don't know. I think what we discussed before, that we'll see lots of regulation, and people will start to have to move to safer jurisdictions that are still nice to Bitcoin, and everybody else will be stuck with their what food stamps, or what they call it, central bank digital currencies. So yeah, I don't know. But for now, Bitcoin's number go up technology. We'll see it go up. And I think Plan B is right on track.
Well, everyone knows in order for Bitcoin to go to 100K, everyone needs to subscribe to the World Crypto Network, because if the World Crypto Network goes to 100K, then Bitcoin will surely follow. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on Bitcoin breaking 60K?
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely happen. The thing is that I worry about is, and I'm still umming and ahhing, thinking about it a lot, that Bitcoin seems to be tying itself a lot more to the stock market. And there will be a massive stock market crash. Like we saw in March, just a little teaser, a little taste test of what that looks like. And what happens is that Bitcoin cruises down with it, gold cruises down with it, everything cruises down with this, because everyone's just desperately looking for liquidity to close other positions, to get somewhere, just get it out, get it into cash. And then from that pile of rubble, that's where you want to, if you aren't in Bitcoin yet, that's what you want to buy at that dip. Although most people don't, because they're like, and they get too scared of it going down. But I'm kind of scared, because there is only 21 million. So it definitely deserves to be up way from here, way up from here. But the thing is that it's getting so tied into Wall Street that the massive crash that's coming, the huge crash that makes the Big Short looks like a fun little day out, is coming, folks. And to try to prepare for that is really a tricky thing, because what do? Do you hold fiat that it will crash with it? Do you hold property, like land? What do you hold? And the sad part of that whole thing is that you try to hold hard assets and even crypto, but you have to hold it for a while, because it will dip down massively and it'll get very scary. The OGs like us, we're kind of used to these big dips in crypto, so we just go, whatever. But that's when the suicides happen, and I've seen them from in the industry here. So when that does happen, just beware that it will happen, and it's going to be okay. Hold through it, but it's I don't know when it's coming. This is the other thing. It's so manipulated, man. The whole stock exchange, the whole thing, the whole game is so manipulated and obstructed from reality that you just don't know when the plunge protection team are just going to go, okay, hands off, because what else can they do? So there's a few things to look out for, and those things are things starting to go up. I mean, what they're doing now, for instance, just in terms of hyperinflation, is going to cause a lot more hyperinflation than the past. See, when banks print their own money and it stays within the banking system and gets bought up by the Fed again, and it just sort of bails them out, and you definitely see inflation, right? But what happens is if you start putting that outside of the banking system, giving it into the people's hands, it gets into the wider economy. That's when inflation starts hitting hard. So I think with these stimmy checks, I think we're going to see a large part of that inflation hitting home. So might even be good to start taking credit and debt out, because if we are going into hyperinflation or an inflationary bubble to start with, allow that inflation to pay off debts where you've bought physical real assets with it. That's also an option. Of course, none of this is really advice. It's all educational. But there's a lot of complex ins and outs, far more than we can just cover in this short segment of what's happening right now with the wider global economy. It's a very, very, very interesting time to be alive. People should do their diligence. If you're holding a lot of money, if you're holding a very substantial amount as part of your family's wealth, you should be very, very much studying what happened in Weimar Republic, in Germany, what went up, what went down, how people protected themselves, what people did in some of the African countries, what people have done to protect their wealth, apart from hanging around the corridors of power in places like Venezuela. Figure out which assets to hold, which assets to diversify into for the long run, because it's going to get very, very intense over the next 6 months.
That would figure that just as I'm out of debt, it suddenly becomes cool to have debt. And what are you going to do when the great crash comes? You're just going to walk the earth like Caine in Kung Fu. Walk the earth and have adventures. Moving on to the exit question, the price of Bitcoin this time next week, higher or lower? Dan Eve.
Okay, well, I've been a bit too optimistic, I think, the last couple of weeks, although technically we are quite close to 65. I think that was the last one I said. So I'm going to stay with 65 because it's only another 5K. It's about 11%, if that, less than that from where we are now. Yeah, I think 65K is a reasonable guess.
Dan stays with 65. Martine, higher or lower?
I'll stick with Dan on this. We've seen a lot of buying. Sorry, the market's been a bit slow, but you see that buyers are all concentrated around the 54K. Sellers don't want to go lower than 64K. So that's why there's not much movement in the market. So I think 65, then we're lucky, then we're breaking that. Eventually, those buyers will have to come up with a price. So 65, definitely good.
Josh Shigala, we're seeing a consensus for 65. Do you agree?
I see like the moving averages for the week do show me a strong buy signal. I also think there's a fairly solid buy signal on some other technical triangles. But
that's a technical term.
That's a very technical
term d'art. Yes.
No, I mean some of the oscillators are looking kind of neutral. But one thing I would say is that if you're going to buy Bitcoin at this height, then definitely just average in every week or day or payday. That's the best way to go. But I do see that there is a bit of a strong buy on the moving averages at the moment.
But we all know the real reason the audience is here, and everyone push that thumbs up button. It's working. We have 60 viewers thanks to you pushing the thumbs up button. But now the Bitcoin predictor ball will predict the price of Bitcoin. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Outlook, not so good. Outlook, not so good. So there it is. The panel is bullish. The ball disagrees. Outlook, not so good.
Let's see what happens.
Everyone's adjusting their positions right now. They're all running around the chat. They're like, get me back on the margin. Sell, buy. Moving on to issue 4. Tesla's Elon Musk wants Coinbase to become Doge-friendly. Coinbase, one of the few coins not to be listed. Dogecoin's one of the few coins not to be listed on Coinbase, and Elon Musk wants to change that. They asked him on Twitter, and he said yes, with an exclamation mark, which, as you know, is a major communication from Elon. He's come down from the mountain. He has spoken to the people. And the question is Elon Musk right? Dan Eve, should Dogecoin be listed on Coinbase?
I think so. And because if you're gonna like calm down, everyone at your keyboard. I think if you're gonna add other shit coins, then I really don't see why not Dogecoin. And let's face it, it's been a whether you believe in the market caps as you know, Coin Market Cap shows, or other leading brands, blah blah blah. It's been one of the top coins that's been around alongside Bitcoin for a long time. It's almost kind of a pre-indicator of Bitcoin pumping as well. You know, you kind of know that there's something's up when Doge is on a move. And I just think, if you're gonna add all sorts of other shit coins, especially stuff that eventually gets delisted anyway, like XRP, why not add Doge? You know, it's a collectible. It's kind of a, you know, it's the memeable version of Bitcoin. Well, obviously Bitcoin's memeable anyway, but it was kind of, you know, it's almost built for a joke. But I think it just makes fun of for me, it makes fun of the traditional finance system, because it's not Bitcoin, and yet it still does better than all the banks. So I love it. I think go for it.
XRP is for the banks. It's got electrolytes. Martin Wismayer, Dogecoin for Coinbase?
Yeah, I think Dogecoin, I never really took it serious. It was really started as a joke, but you know, from an ethical viewpoint, I think they shouldn't list it. But considering that it's more like shitcoin based nowadays, and they do list all these crap coins, they really don't care. There is no, you know, they say they make a fair judgment whether to add a coin or not, but they're just looking at their wallets and they list anything. So yeah, sure, add it. I have stopped recommending Coinbase to new coiners a long time ago, so don't care. Yeah, but honestly, don't buy any Dogecoin, and you know, just read something about, you know, market cap and total number of coins, and you know, before you start investing on Coinbase, because before you know it, you're holding bags of shit coins. So yeah, no, personally no, but they're shitcoin based, so sure, why not?
Profits and fees, yes, but ethically, they're a little shaky. Josh Shigala, should Coinbase add Dogecoin?
I mean, the Doge is amazing, because people don't quite realize the amount of dilution that's happening every 10 minutes. You know, I kind of go with Dan on this one. I think that people need to learn in this industry what a joke coin is, what a real, I think I've frozen here, but can you guys still hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
All right. So, yeah, the thing is that people need to learn what a scam looks like. That's what it is. And if you're going to invest in crypto, you need to learn what every 10 minutes that there's a certain amount of supply on certain coins, or that there's a total amount of supply on certain coins and not on other ones, and what it sounds like to own a percentage of a market cap rather than an amount of coins. And you know, there's all these things that you should learn. And I hope that Coinbase, if they did list Doge, that they would talk about all of these factors and let people decide, because it is just a stupid coin. If you just don't want to hold something like Doge, it's literally a joke. Like, it literally is a joke. And Elon sees that. But what sort of annoys me about Elon's tweets is that he's tweeting them like they aren't, that it isn't a joke, that he takes it sort of seriously in a jokey manner. but it literally is a joke coin. It's not, it's a community coin. It's something it's like a test net. You sort of throw it around, but it has some sort of value because there's, I don't know, because Elon tweets about it or something. But yeah.
Well, I think Coinbase should add Dogecoin because it would drive my friend Jackson crazy. For you guys who don't know, like Josh was saying, it's a joke coin. Jackson Palmer, who created it, doesn't really like Bitcoin, doesn't really like crypto, was making fun of it the entire time. It was a joke and they were making fun of crypto. And that's why you could have millions of Doge and you'd be like instantly rich for $20 or something. And yeah, it would be super funny if they added to Coinbase. It would also follow my theory of Coinbase is always behind the profits. When Cripsy had hundreds of altcoins, Coinbase was like, I want to be like that. And then Binance took it. And then Binance had all the DeFi and Coinbase was like, I want to be like that. And they're adding all the DeFi. They're always chasing whoever the next thing is. So it would be great to see them add Dogecoin and then for Dogecoin to become suddenly uncool because it's on Coinbase. Maybe there'd be a new Dogecoin like Dogecoin Dark. That could become a Dashcoin or something like that.
There is already I think there was a Dogecoin Dark.
I know. I think it became Dashcoin or Monero or something. One of the big ones.
And doesn't it Doge still doesn't have a cap on it? Is that right? It's still capless.
Yeah, it's never going to have a cap.
There's a gazillion Doge or something. It's bizarre.
There's like an inflation bug. Like it prints more than it's supposed to, and it's kind of fishy, and it's merged mined with Litecoin. But again, you don't need to know any of that. It has a Doge on it, and Elon Musk recommends it. They just had that story this week where the guy sent 400,000 pounds of Bitcoin to Elon Musk because he was going to send him double that back.
Oh yeah, I've did that once, but you never get anything back.
Well, and how does that guy get access to 400,000 pounds in Bitcoin where he's like, oh, just like it's the middle of the night and I'm just going to send my entire investment to Elon Musk because that's a good idea. Like that's everyone that I know, they all got rich because they sent their entire investment to a random person on the internet in the middle of the night and it got doubled.
Oh, like, you can find those random people also in the comments down below because those scammers always target all the YouTube channels. So don't take any investment, guys. Investment advice from people, in the comments section, and it's all scams. So yeah, people.
I like those spam comments though. It's like getting junk mail. It's proof that you exist. It's like you made a crypto video. Here's your like 20 or 30 scam comments about like Telegram and how you can reach us. And I trust this guy so much. He doubled my money and all that. So
they still don't have a report for report spam. You got report spam, report offensive stuff, report imposters. I don't think they've got one for scams yet, or at least they didn't last time I checked. And I think that a lot of the platforms really kind of need that to at least, especially while we're going through this huge fact-checking age where, everything's fact-check and we want to make sure that people are getting the right information. So that's something that's quite key. And maybe, that will be expedited because of the fact that Jack's a Bitcoiner. Obviously, Cash App, for example, has been really popular this week. It was trending because a lot of people are using that to send Bitcoin. And I saw loads of kind of scam attempts underneath that as well. So hopefully that will be expedited and we'll be able to report scams and get rid of them quick. But they're very clever. They emulate a site. They're very, very, very clever. It's just a shame they managed to get so many people.
Twitter is completely run amok with imitators and scammers, and that's really been a problem. We had DJ Booth for a while. He had that program. You can have people mass report your scammers, and that's the only way to get rid of them. And Adam Back gets mad at it every once in a while. But the YouTube one's a big problem as well, where it's possible they could be liable because Google is allowing these things to happen, and the spam tools that I have as a YouTuber are incredibly poor. Like, I would just like to ban the word Telegram. Like, sorry, I like Telegram, I use it, but every time someone mentions it in the comments, it's always Telegram me about my scam. Same thing, Gmail, email, all these. If I could ban 5 or 6 words, I'd just get rid of all these things. And I don't know why they don't, and why it's not a larger priority for them, but it's not, and they don't care. But we're reaching near the end of the show. So, Dan, Eve, are you ready with a prediction or a story of the week? Go ahead, Dan.
I'm going to go for a really exciting prediction that Bitcoin's going to be 65K next Friday.
going out on a limb there, although you are going against the Magic 8-Ball. That's kind of a tough pick there. So.
Blasphemy.
Martine, a prediction or a story of the week, and do you dare to challenge the ball?
Nothing here. I've been busy finding crypto art for the past week. So yeah, I hope to get in touch with some artists. I think we should really work on getting more focus on the art. After all, it's part of the crypto renaissance. And there will be no crypto renaissance or Bitcoin renaissance without art. So we need more art. So artists, do get in touch with me, either via Twitter or just subscribe on generalbytes.com and we'll get in touch with you.
Josh Shigala, prediction or story of the week?
Yeah, there's no real prediction apart from the fact that Bitcoin will be around next week. That's my prediction. I'm sorry, that's totally boring, but
looking for more doom and gloom.
More doom and gloom.
Night.
Yeah, we're trying to get a technical analysis indicator to show up on the Voltoro blog posts. It takes about 100 different indicators and boils it down to one thing, which is strong sells, sell, buy, or strong buy, and that's a good little thing from TradingView. But yeah, let us know if it works in the comments, because some browsers are having problems.
And you need to bring back the troll box. I don't know how to make any of my decisions without the troll box.
Yeah, you need a troll box.
On BTCE, right? The troll box.
Oh, yeah, all the times in there. Dogecoin to the moon. Yes.
Yeah.
Elon
Arise, chicken.
Arise,
chicken. Arise.
But let's see here. Story of the week is they found my Curio card project, my NFT art project from 2017.
Oh,
so this is pretty fun. I knew this, but apparently the internet didn't know this. But my friends Rhett Creighton and Travis Urig and I pretty much invented NFTs. We were the first art-based NFT on Ethereum. Rare Pepes was before us, but they were on Counterparty. And there's also a thing called Etheria that had NFTs, but they were a game, and you could only use theirs in the command line. Curio cards had all of the things that we take for granted in modern NFTs, including, as you can see here, an animated GIF, actually the second animated NFT. We did the first one before that. But yeah, individual cards, individual supplies. And I knew this because Curio cards was mentioned in the ERC 721 specification. So you could just read where they said they designed it after Rare Pepes and Curio cards. So this has caused a lot of speculation in the market about the value of these cards. Many of the cards were left abandoned, kind of, in a vending machine that Rhett built, where you could send Ethereum to the vending machine and it would send back Curio cards to you. The people of the internet figured this out very quickly, diagrammed this for other users, spread it far and wide, and they bought all the cards that were in the vending machines. They were sold out almost immediately. Now they're trying to build a market for these cards. They're building a wrapper to host them on OpenSea. There's a DEX. They're trying to trade these cards. According to early reports, card number 1 has traded at a 24-hour volume of $100,000 or more.
Wow.
People have said they're getting $12,000 maybe for a single card or a series of cards. And the chat room, they have a Discord with over 500 people. And it's all the things that I always wanted to see. They're like, I'll trade you a number 5 for a number 12. Or, I'm selling 7, 8, 9, but I need 15, 17, and 2. Like they're trading them like collectibles. They're calling themselves collectors. Of course, they're all really just in it for the money. But it's pretty exciting for my dead startup from 2017 to suddenly be popular and back. And it's also fascinating because another company, and they're going to probably have more success, another company stole our name as well. Just recently, a company called Curio, yes, we're Curio Cards, and they're Curio, said that they're going to make NFTs for Showtime television network, and they have all kinds of big contracts to make all kinds of fancy NFTs, and they only raised $1.2 million with the name Curio and the idea to make NFTs. So it's been a very interesting week on the internet, just checking this out, seeing what happens. Not financial advice, buying or selling Curio cards. But it sounds like fun, and they're collectibles like baseball cards. And that's what I always said. And it's super strange to be proven right 4 years later and totally ignored during those 4 years.
Well done, Thomas.
The website you just showed.
Father of NFTs.
Yeah.
What's the address of the website you just showed with the cards?
This is curio.cards. This is one of the newer versions of the website. They're pretty cool cards. Basically, they highlighted after the first 10, which were kind of test cards, it highlighted the work of various artists. So let's see right here. If we click, we can see the crypto graffiti cards here, number 11, 12, and 13. He did a few of his cool Bitcoin logos as cards. Philippe did some cards here. Here's number 20, the Mad Bitcoin.
Oh, smart, in suit.
Yeah. James Bond. And he also did some of his Bitcoin parodies here, Coca-Cola and Wendy's and Heineken. And he did card 10. He also did the original cards, which were kind of clip art kind of based. These were going to be generic cards that we were going to kind of use that you could buy and trade these for the other cards. But it turned out these cards, at least according to the current market, which again, we have no idea how this is going to turn out, are being called the first NFTs and are being hyped as being valuable. So card number 1 here, the apple, pretty good choice, a little biblical apple reference there, Garden of Eden kind of stuff. So people are really loving that. And we had a couple other fun cards. This eclipse card was released on 8/21/2017 when we had that big eclipse, and there was only 821 of the cards. So that was kind of fun, and it was an animated card. Let's see, we also had Robex World. He did some great cards here. This is the founders of Curio Cards. So there's another Mad Bitcoins. There's Travis, and then there's Rhett. And you can kind of see Rhett is the first animated, the first animated NFT, because Rhett's got the blinking thing.
Wow, and you got 21.
Yeah, I got 21.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
pretty cool.
21. So, yeah, it's really cool. There's a couple other artists here. Daniel Friedman made these incredible pencil arts with a lot of detail. There weren't a lot of those, so they sold out really quick. Marisol Vengus did these really interesting color overlays on cities. And I think that's Crypto Pop. Did I show his? Oh, these are really cool. The UASF card and the Dogecoin to the moon with the dogs on it, and then the dogs playing poker. And they say, okay, who's got a new alt to pump? So these were really fun cards too. And there's a bit of controversy going on right now. I don't want to weigh in on either sides because people started listening to me, so I can't joke anymore. I've become like Elon Musk. But there's actually a fork on card 17. Card 17, the UASF card. I don't know what happened. My theory is that Rhett made a mistake and then fixed it. But there are 2 different versions, and the audience has somehow figured this out. And of course, they bought up version 17B. And now they're having a huge debate, like a holy war, about whether 17B is like an original Curio card, should be included in the original 30, or if it's like a misprint or an alternate Curio card, maybe included in a later wrapper onto the OpenSea, like it should be sold as a misprint. So that's really fun, and it's especially fun that's happening on the UASF card. So I don't know if it was planned or whatever. It's one of those happy accident, I don't know things. But and as far as the value, again, stop quoting me. But yeah, they were way excited when I joined their Discord. So shout out to all the Curio Cards people. I hope you enjoy collecting and buy and sell at your own risk. It's been 4 years. Also, I think there's a possibility that we're going to be the ones that break the whole NFT thing, because they're like, NFTs make so much money on all these platforms, and then here comes one that's not on a platform, just on Ethereum, it's on the wrapper or whatever, and I don't know if there'll be that much interest, but we got listed in the Wikipedia for crypto art under 2017. We were before Crypto Punks, so apparently they were claiming they were number 2, and then now we're number 2 on all-time NFTs for Ethereum and number 1 on art NFTs for Ethereum. So,
well, I'm going straight there to buy some up.
You gotta have one.
That's what I'm hoping. And I did shows about this. I told everyone, and everyone's like, "Mad Bitcoin's NFTs. These aren't worth anything." And then 4 years later, who's laughing now? So But yeah, I think we talked about it too much. So anything else you guys want to say? Ready to head towards the end of the show?
No, I tell you what, folks, smash those likes, drill those likes, slap them, and send them to the moon, because this show needs a bit more exposure. I think this is also the longest running Bitcoin show that's been around. I remember the Bitcoin group from years and years and years ago, and I'm a very proud guest. That's a regular guest, as we all are, and I think it's unfortunate that it only gets so many views. That it's the insiders, the true insiders. I think there's been some really, really good information given out over the years on this show that has made people a lot of money because they've listened to some of the opinions. And some people lost a lot of money as well because they didn't listen to the opinion. but no, I really hope that everyone can give us a thumbs up and help the show become wider adopted.
It's also nice, Josh. Sometimes we have both sides of the opinion, so we were right and wrong. So people got rich and poor on the same advice. Martine, anything you want to say about the Bitcoin group? We didn't really do much. I tried to invite people, but they didn't reply. But it's kind of the 250th and 250th episode. So Martine, it's a big round number if you want to say something.
Wow. Yeah. This is it already 250th episode? Oh, I stopped counting like a long time ago. But no, I think this show, Mad Bitcoin Show, was one of the first podcasts I started following on Bitcoin. That was back in 2011 or 12. I don't know. I don't remember. Everything is a blur.
2013, but I wish I'd started earlier.
Oh, it feels like, and I remember it's like my first phone with a data connection. I would hook it up to my car radio, and it would play YouTube. But, of course, I had to pay attention to the roads. But then I would listen in through the car radio, and it was like, I felt like that was the world, Sautong on the radio, or we're streaming a podcast, and it was the Mad Bitcoin Show. It was like, we were changing the world, and now we're 250 episodes later, we're still here.
I think we did change the world, though. It is the bankers used to laugh at us. Now they all accept Bitcoin. It's another one of those. Being the pioneers isn't always the best thing, because the pioneers get shot in the back by the Native Americans, as I say it correctly. But yeah, we all know what happens to the pioneers. But again, that's also, in this case, a sign of success. Like, all these bankers are into it, and they've brought their banker people and their analysts, and they were all wrong in 2013, and they were wrong in 11 and 12 and all these years. But now they're here and they're with us, and they're going to start being right if they agree with us on Bitcoin, I think.
Those bankers and their analysts.
All the analysts are coming.
God.
Dan, Eve, do you want to say anything about the Bitcoin group number 2?
Well, now that you said it's 250 episodes, I was already honoured, but now I'm even more honoured. And thinking back in the day when I was working in Treasury at the time for where I was working, and I was learning about Bitcoin, and the two channels I was learning from was your channel, Mad Bitcoins, and also Trace Mayer. I started listening to the Trace Mayer Run to Gold podcast because it was Bitcoin, and when I first heard, I kind of wanted to watch or listen to the transition of him going from gold to Bitcoiner, and so when I was explaining Bitcoin, I'd show them a video, or every now and then someone walked past the desk, and I'd be sat there watching one of your videos, and they're like, "Oh, to talk about Bitcoin," they say, "You're learning from this guy," and I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, talking about the news, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll pass on." But all those people, I've been 3 in the last week have messaged me on LinkedIn saying, "Hey Dan, how's it going? Are you still into Bitcoin?" Sadly, they think I'm a multi-millionaire, but unfortunately, you've been in Bitcoin long enough that you live Bitcoin, and therefore, only I think if only I'd have seen and I'm wearing the HODL cap, but we used Bitcoin. Like in 2013, it was like I was almost trying to prove that I'd be using it for stuff. Like, yeah, of course I use it for stuff, and I'd buy something random off the internet and be like, yeah, I used Bitcoin to buy this. And so you use it along the way. But it's been an incredible journey so far. And I'm just absolutely over the moon to be a part of this show. And I've learned a lot from you. And I think a lot of people around the world have. And I would like to thank you very much for your absolutely dedicated service to providing Bitcoin information and news to people. And yeah, I think it's been incredible of you. So thank you very much, sir.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Gonna make me tear up here, but it is pretty fun. It's also it's easy to lose track on a weekly show like this. How many weeks 250 weeks is? 52 weeks in a year. That's like at least 5 years. You know, we took some time off here and there, but we've been pretty consecutive. I was going through the spreadsheet of kind of all the guests that have been on the show and trying to map up when we took weeks off, and we were really good. Until I went to Europe, and then I messed up our consecutive streak. But we were really strong there for a long time, and then we go on and off the streak. We're on a pretty good streak right now, but it's very easy to break it. It's hard to get a group of people together every week, and no one here gets paid. I don't really get paid. There's not really a lot of money here, but you do get the prestige. You were on the Bitcoin group. I guess you could turn that into some stock trading, triangle workshops and stuff. There's all
some NFT. You can NFT it.
NFT. And again, now, Mad Bitcoins is not a maximalist. He's an NFTer. And the NFTers are like, he's not hardcore NFT enough. He's a Bitcoiner. And so I'm going to not benefit from this, I think. But that's all right. I'm in the Wikipedia. So, but yeah, 250 episodes. One time, let's see, I think Megan hosted one. Megan Lords, Derek Freeman hosted one, and Chris Ellis hosted one. So there's been 3 fun guest hosts, but the rest of the time I've been here. Shout out to all the guests we've had throughout the years. Andreas Antonopoulos, Blake Anderson, Chris Ellis, especially Tone Vase. He had quite a consecutive streak going there. He's really strong on his consecutive streak, so we might have to get that started again. Jimmy Song, all the people that have been on here. I'm forgetting people's names. Christoph Atlas. Let's see who else we have on here. I'm gonna get it when I forget them, but all kinds of people. I didn't prepare a speech, but thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the thumbs up and subscribing down below. Let's get to 100K for World Crypto Network. Then we get a little plaque, and that would be really neat.
Yeah, subscribe, folks.
Yeah, subscribe, and ask your friends to subscribe. They don't have to watch it, but they could just subscribe. Something like that. So, but thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We're going to go ahead and end the show for now. So until next time, bye.